When beauty meets temptation, only faith can save her. Some roads look golden until you realize they lead straight to destruction. Edina's box was packed. Her admission letter to the University of Cape Coast rested carefully on top of her folded clothes. It was supposed to be the happiest day of her life, her first step toward independence. But that morning, as she tied her scarf and reached for her bag, she felt her mother's eyes watching her closely. "Edina, come and sit down," her mother, Madam Aba, said in a tone that left no room for argument. Edina obeyed, her younger brother Kojo clutching her hand. Madam Aba leaned forward, her voice calm but heavy with warning. "My daughter, listen to me very well. The world outside this house is not kind. You will meet people who look like angels but carry knives behind their smiles. Bad company does not come shouting. It comes slowly, softly, until one day you wake up and no longer know yourself." Edina's eyes dropped. Madam Aba's tone softened, but her gaze stayed firm. "They will tell you, 'Come with us just once.' They will mock you when you say no. But my daughter, it's better they mock you than destroy you. Remember what I always say, a spoiled name is worse than hunger." Kojo sniffled. "Sister, promise you will come back home." Edina smiled weakly and hugged him. Her mother placed her hands on her shoulders and whispered, "Character is beauty. Guard it. Don't trade your dignity for friendship." Outside, the bus horn blared. Edina stood, heart heavy. She didn't know it yet, but her mother's warning would one day save her soul. When she arrived at the university, the world felt new and full of promise. The sea breeze from Cape Coast brushed her face. The laughter of students echoed through the halls, and everything smelled like freedom. Her roommates, Edina and Sandra, were already inside when she entered their shared hostel room. From the start, Edina noticed they were very different. While she unpacked her books and laid out her fellowship clothes, Edina and Sandra spent hours doing makeup, gossiping about men with cars, and taking selfies in revealing outfits. By Friday night, their room transformed. Music blasted, perfumes filled the air, and they dressed in shimmering clothes ready for parties. Expensive cars stopped at the hostel gates to pick them up, sleek BMWs and Range Rovers. They would vanish into the night and return at dawn, tired but smiling, holding shopping bags and wads of cash. They lived like queens, while Edina barely managed to buy handouts and food. One evening, as she ironed her simple dress for church, Edina laughed and said, "Hey, Edina, you are too holy. You think prayers can pay your bills?" Sandra added, giggling, "One night out with us and you will never suffer again." "Just one?" Their words stung, but Edina only smiled. "I'm fine this way." That night, while they went out, she stayed back, praying. But as the weeks passed, it became harder to ignore the temptation. They returned with new phones and wigs, while she struggled to even buy airtime. Sometimes, when hunger bit deep, she remembered her mother's words, "Better they mock you than destroy you." And so she endured. Months turned into years. Edina stayed strong, focused on her studies, and found peace in her fellowship group. But one afternoon, as she walked back from class, her phone rang. It was Kojo, crying. Sister, please come home. Mama collapsed this morning. The doctor said we need money urgently for treatment. Her heart dropped. How much? She asked, her voice shaking. When he mentioned the amount, Esinam froze. It was more money than she had ever held. She tried calling friends from church. No one could help. She begged her department head for an advance. Nothing worked. That night, she sat on her bed, staring at the empty wallet on her table. Her roommates were getting dressed for another night out. Finally, she swallowed her pride. Edina, Sandra, please, can you help me with some money? My mother is in the hospital. They paused, exchanging glances. Then laughter filled the room. Sandra smirked. So Sister Holy wants our money now? Edina leaned closer. We don't get this money by prayer. If you want it, follow us tonight. Just one night, and you'll have more than enough. Nobody will know. Esinam's throat tightened. No, I can't do that. They laughed again. Then watch your mother die, Edina said coldly. Those words cut deep. That night, Esinam cried until her pillow was wet. She tried praying, but all she could hear was Kojo's voice saying, Mama is dying. By morning, her resistance had cracked. When Edina touched her shoulder gently and said, It's just one night, Esinam, she nodded. The car that picked them up gleamed under the hostel light. The tinted windows hid the men inside. As Esinam climbed in, fear sat heavy in her chest. They were driven to a mansion in Takoradi, where laughter, drinks, and music filled the air. Edina and Sandra quickly melted into the crowd, whispering and giggling with men twice their age. Esinam sat quietly in a corner, her body trembling. Then one of the men approached her, tall, dark, with a calm face. He smiled softly. You look scared, he said. I don't belong here, she whispered. He chuckled. Then just sit with me. I won't touch you. For hours they talked. He asked about her studies, her dreams. Then she opened up. She told him about her mother ailment. He was kind, too kind to assist her. When morning came, he handed her a brown envelope. Take this. For your mother. No strings attached. She opened it, bundles of cash, enough to pay the bills. Tears filled her eyes. Thank you. When she told her roommates, they were shocked. He didn't touch you? Sandra gasped. And he gave you that much? Edina frowned. That's strange. But Esinam didn't care. She rushed home, paid for her mother's surgery, and lied when her mother asked where the money came from. I borrowed it from a friend, she said. Her mother smiled weakly. God bless your friend. You are a good girl. But those words pierced her. She felt dirty inside, even though she hadn't done anything wrong. Weeks later, Edina came home with shocking news. Esinam, there's a private party in Accra next weekend. They're paying 50,000 cedis each. Just 5 girls will be chosen. Let's go. Esinam shook her head. No, I can't. Sandra smirked. The first time gave you money and saved your mother. What's the difference this time? Her heart wavered. She remembered her mother's weak body, her unpaid school fees, the struggles. Only once, she whispered to herself. That decision changed everything. That night, a black SUV picked them up. The drive was long, the road quiet. When they arrived at the mansion, Esinam's heart thumped hard. Inside, 6 men waited, all dressed in black. The air was thick, the atmosphere strange. One of them smiled coldly. "Welcome, my daughters, but before you enjoy, drink this." A golden bowl was placed before them, filled with a red, thick liquid. Edina hesitated. "What's this?" The man's tone hardened. "Drink, or leave with nothing." The girls looked at each other. Then Sandra took the first sip. One by one, they all drank, even Esinam. The taste was bitter, metallic, and burned her throat. Moments later, the man raised his hand. "Now, remember, no protection. Flesh to flesh. That is how we connect with you." Fear shot through Esinam. "What do you mean?" He only smiled. "You understand soon." Before she could protest, the man led each girl away. That night was a blur of fear, tears, and silence. By morning, each girl received 50,000 cedis. They returned to campus pretending all was fine. But something had changed. 2 weeks later, Sandra began bleeding endlessly. Her period wouldn't stop. She grew pale, weak, and started to smell. Then Edina's body began to swell painfully. Her face changed, her beauty fading overnight. And Esinam? She started to shrink. Her weight dropped, her skin grew dull. They went to the hospital. The doctors found nothing wrong. "You are perfectly fine," they said. But they knew the truth, something was eating them from the inside. At night, they couldn't sleep. They heard whispers in their dreams. They saw red eyes watching them. The money they earned now looked cursed. One evening, Esinam broke down. "We need help. We need God." Sandra sobbed. "Will he even listen to girls like us?" Edina whispered. "Let's try." They went to a small church near campus, dragging their weak bodies through the doors. The pastor, an elderly man named Reverend Kwaku, took one look at them and said softly, "You went to the wrong table." They fell on their knees, crying. Reverend Kwaku prayed, his voice rising with power. "Whatever covenant was made through your bodies, I break it in the name of Jesus." Sandra screamed as dark smoke seemed to rise from her skin. Edina shook violently, weeping. Esinam fell flat on the floor, whispering, "God, please save me." And that night, freedom came. By morning, the bleeding stopped. The swelling disappeared. Esinam's strength returned. The pastor gave them one last warning. Burn that money. It carries blood. They obeyed. The flames rose high, carrying their past away with the smoke. Months passed. The girls healed not just their bodies, but their souls. They became very active in church activities, became youth mentors, and began sharing their story to warn others. Sandra started a foundation to help struggling female students. Edina began teaching young girls about self-worth. Esinam led fellowship meetings, her voice steady, her message strong. "Beauty fades, but character remains," she often said. "Money that comes from sin will always cost you more than it gives." Years later, Esinam stood before hundreds of young women at a youth conference in Accra. Her eyes glistened, her voice calm but powerful. "My sisters, not every rich man is a blessing. Some are traps wearing perfume. Don't sell your future for comfort. I did, and it almost killed me. But God gave me another chance. He can give you one too. The hall was silent. Many wept. As she stepped down, Edina smiled. The peace she once lost was finally restored. The scars remained, but they were no longer shame. They were proof that grace is stronger than guilt. God can redeem even the worst mistake. Your body is not a tool for survival. It's a temple to be protected. Fast money can destroy slow destinies.